Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com. Welcome to Seat Time, everybody. Brian Pierce, your host for this fine evening. Seat Time, the online show for the off-road enthusiast, the beer-drinking, binge-racing way to enjoy yourself in off-road news. I have a fine guest this Tuesday evening, Mr. Caleb Ramsay with the second A. How's your evening going?
It's going great. It's going great. Glad to be here.
I like it. Got any fun bruises to talk that we're going to get to talk about?
No, I had a sweet scar on my thumb, but it's kind of healing now, so it's not cool. It was cool there for a while.
Was it riding or from Haley?
Yeah, she beat me.
Yes! It was from Booth.
Just beat me. Yeah, no, just, one of those deals you come around, on the start, and you're like, oh, yeah, there's a straightaway here, and you forget there was actually a corner.
Before the straightaway?
Yeah, and just straight into somebody. It was a bad deal, but better now.
One day.
Yeah.
One day. We'll all figure it out and be professionals and get paid to do this. Of course, Seat Time is brought to you by people that do pay us a little bit, and we need to talk about how awesome they are. So Fly Racing at flyracing.com. We're going to be giving away some of the kinetic gear in the near future, so pay attention for that. When we get back from the National Enduro, we're going to start putting that together because it's going to be summer soon. We're going to make sure you guys have a chance to win some vintage gear. We've had a lot of luck with the Pint full of awesome competitions on Instagram. Most likely going to be something like that in the hashtag, so definitely pay attention. And then, of course, Kenda Tire USA. I am going to be playing around with the Millville 2s this weekend at the National Enduro. Could not get any with Schugle 2s last minute. That's just the way it goes when you wait until the last minute. So some Millville 2s will be on the KTM 350. If you want to know how it goes, definitely ask me after the show. We're going to be talking with a couple Kenda riders as well while we're out there. Make sure we find out how they did, if anybody wins, like Grant Baylor's been doing for a while there. We're going to interview him. It'll be fun. And then, of course, SRT Off-Road. I'm going to have a SRT chain guide on my bike because I keep forgetting that I broke it and that I zip-tied it on and that it sucks when you do that and that you actually need to have a correctly bolted one on your motorcycle. So that's going to be a good time as well. So srtoffroad.com, where you can go learn more about all of the wares that they do have for your bike. A lot of it is great protection, but as well you can do a little bit of e-commerce online. But the best thing is SRT Off-Road products and Kenda Tires and Fly Racing are all available at your local dealer, like an Adventure Moto that is close to us, or an SMS Racing, and lots of other local dealers. So definitely that's the best way to support the sport. If you can do it, do that. Of course, a little bit of stuff that's been going on with Seat Time. It's been interesting. Sorry I didn't have a show last week. It was just great to get a little bit of a break.
Easter
have some time
break.
With the family.
Easter
so hopefully
break.
Everybody had a happy Easter. But you guys did do a little bit of racing, which I do want to talk about. So how was the Off-Road Cup?
Oh, yeah. No, it was great. Now, I still got to see the family on Sunday. I mean,
Look at you.
only for like 20 minutes. But
you're like, we're here. I'm going to bed.
Off-Road Cup was awesome. I mean, just, really different format. It's 3-person team for 9 hours. You can do it however you want. And you can ride, whatever bikes you want or whatever. And so it really opens it up, because
9 hours?
9 hours, and unlike like the Perry Mountain where you're on one bike,
right.
this really makes it to where more people can show up and do it because you're on your own bike.
Right.
You ain't got to work anything out. And there was a lot of people there. I mean, I think they ended up recording like 2,500 laps.
What?
And I think there's probably about 300, probably about 200 people on the track.
How
at the time.
long was a lap?
About 8.5 miles.
So what is that in math world?
I don't know. Do want to give a shout out to my buddy Clayton Clark. He won the Ironman. And Haley, what do you say, dude? 24 laps?
I think so.
That's intense. So if it's 8 miles a lap, and there was really 2,500 laps done, obviously by all the riders, that means throughout the week, that day, there would have been 20,000 miles done.
Ooh, man, dang.
That's a shit ton,
dude.
Like
and
if that. Now, granted, we didn't check those numbers, but hey,
yeah, we're just guesstimating.
And this is also Brian math. Shit can get weird. But you said he did 24 laps.
24 laps at 8.5.
Even he did.
So yeah, that's what
192
miles. And dude, and the thing was, on this track, there was so little soil. It was all rock. I mean, the main racetrack is just rocks that don't move, surrounded by rocks that do move. Baby heads.
Right.
Baby heads.
Those bitches.
I hate baby heads.
Just wait till they're alive and screaming at you, and then you have to change their diaper.
What are we talking about? Trailer?
It gets weird. Yeah, it's like you just like when you
Children.
just wind up dealing with stuff. You're like, oh my gosh.
So we had a pretty sweet team. Cole Kirkpatrick, Josh Young, and myself, and we were feeling really good. But the team more was Drew Higgins, Zach Ingram, and drawing a blank here. Steve Levain. Sorry, Steve.
Wow,
yeah, I know, man. But anyways,
he's like Mr. Missouri on an off-road motorcycle.
Yeah,
too.
So Steve was going a little faster than I thought he would. I mean, he likes the gnarly rocks. I mean, this is his track, so a little bit of an advantage there. But yeah, he killed it, and so we were kind of having a good race, neck and neck. And then Josh, he got a couple of pair of flat tires. Actually, pinched the tubeless, or I know, didn't pinch it. Put a hole in the tire. So, like, tubeless is good and it'll work out, but, you run a rock through the tire, you run a rock through the tire.
That happened to me in Colorado.
Really? On the tubeless?
Yeah, you need to watch the Seat Time Adventures video again when James Hill is humping my head while we're messing with
trying to change it? Oh, yeah, man.
It's interesting.
So, Cole came to the rescue, and we ended up borrowing a bunch of his wheels. All of them. We ended up borrowing between my flat and his two flats. We were running almost all of Cole's wheels on our whole team. But we came out second. We're a couple minutes behind. I think we finished like 8 minutes behind. So better than being a lap down. I think that's what second place has gotten in the last few years. So
right? Yeah.
We were pumped to race them for a while, but this was all of our first time, and they had all been there before. So we were looking forward to next year, and it just had a really good weekend, Went to the casino afterwards.
Ooh.
Walked around, watched everybody else lose their money.
You just lost your soul.
And then hauled butt back home and got to see the family a little bit on Sunday. So we were really excited about getting second place. We made a little money, and just had a really great time.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
I've always wanted to make that event, and Stephanie Levan's always given me a hard time for not showing up, and it's always just like doesn't work out. Like, I don't want to do Ironman. I just have no desire to ride my motorcycle.
You got to find
for 9
some
hours
dudes
straight.
to get out there.
And it's like, I don't, in the time, and I hate to say this, but it's like putting together a team. I know it really doesn't take that much time, but it's a couple hours that I don't have. And then, I've never been asked to be on a team. So all those things, if somebody asks for me to be on a team and they don't really give a shit about winning and just riding and having fun, sure. But other than that, it's like, I just never works out.
And we come to find out there's a lot of strategy involved, like a lot. And, things have to go like clockwork. Luckily, I had a, pretty good pit crew chief, Haley, and Cole's wife was really helping a lot too. And Mackenzie and yeah, it was our strategy was pretty good, but we know the things to work on next year. Having next person ready, having a spotter out there, in case anything happens. Like we did have one scare, one of the officials or sweeper came in and was like, "Oh, hey, your guy's down." With mechanical, and we're like, oh crap. So Cole jumps on his bike and takes off because you got to ride the track to that person to relieve him. Come to find out, it's the guys next to us. So Cole went and did a freebie lap out there, and
that's
some poor guys, no. So yeah, stuff like that we got to work on. But I will say that the more folks ran a really good event. They used Moto Tally, and that ran really smooth, checking on updates on her phone and all that. Ran a very smooth event. And conditions were perfect if it wasn't for all the rock.
Right.
So,
it is Missouri.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, like, this was like weird rocky, man. Like, this is like not right rocky. Like, there's more dirt on top of any of the peaks in Colorado than there was at this place, dude. Like,
why do you think they picked it for an off-road event?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
So, it's funny. Gary Sutherland's like, "Hey, man, are you 2 hours ahead of me?" So we're central, buddy. You're in Arizona. Figure it out. It's called Google. So I'm glad that you got to do that event. I'm looking forward to one day making that event. It's going to be a good time. And I know you don't want me on your team because you would actually like to win, which I understand. That's totally fine.
Dude, they got like a bunch of different classes. They got like over 30, and then they had a 50.
Yeah, they do. Over 30.
And then like a B. And so, yeah, man.
I'll be in the over 40 class in 3 years.
Ooh,
30,
man.
37
slow
this
that
July.
down.
Nah,
You
man,
slow
you don't
it
slow down. You don't slow down time.
Yeah,
time
you do.
slows you down. Okay? Make a meme out of that shit and make me famous. So hopefully you guys did have a happy Easter. One of the things that I wanted to mention is I forgot to put the shirt on. I don't know the Seat Time shirt that we put out, the Seat Time skeleton shirt that we put out in February. Everybody got in March. We're going to be putting out another one in May. So all I got to say is just pay attention. If you missed buying the skeleton shirt and you want to get another one of our limited edition kind of custom shirts that we're going to be making 4 times this year, pay attention. Sign up for the newsletter because that's the most immediate way that you're going to be alerted to when that shirt's going to be available for purchase. But look forward in May. And another thing is support Seat Time by coming to the website, and there is a little button right there where you can shop on Amazon. So if you buy anything on Amazon, just click that link, go over there. It just gives us a little bit of percentage. It unfortunately doesn't save you any money, but it literally is just like a little affiliate fee. It just kind of gives us a little portion of that and percentage-wise, and that helps with like server fees, paying for gas for people to come over here, sometimes for the beer, all that kinds of fun stuff. So it's just
support your local internet moto beer drinking talk show
by going to our website and then shopping on Amazon by using that link. If that's not the most roundabout way to get there. So a little quickly, let's get into the Dirt Buzz before we get Mr. Ryan Sipes here onto the show. So Dirt Buzz comes to you fresh every Monday on dirtbuzz.com. So definitely go check that out if you're looking for a chance to figure out what happened in the off-road world over the weekend.
I got to ask, why don't you have a picture of somebody playing Edward 40 hands on your screen?
That was from the chat room. When who was that? That was from Lucky Guy 19. That's the dude who lives in Arizona, and he brewed beer for us for the 200th episode. Or I'm sorry, he is a home brewer and had some.
Oh, I figured that was just some college student. No, okay,
well, no.
He's got credentials. All right, cool.
Yeah, I don't know if this is him. This may just be a picture from the internet, but it is one that he sent to us. So in the chat room there, yeah. So that's why Eddie 40 Hands showed up, and
man.
everybody like Papa Pierce is a beast. So
do you want to explain to the viewers at home who might not know what Edward 40 Hands is?
Edward 40 Hands is a game that you play where you duct tape 2 40s to your hands, and the first person that finishes obviously wins. But you can set other kinds of rules and all.
I
that
thought it was a
of
race
stuff,
against your bladder.
Well,
and the fact
it just depends on how you want to play it, because so you can have friends. So friends can kind of come in and be your helper if you can talk them into that.
I don't know why you haven't done this on one of the episodes.
Because I like to be able to urinate whenever I need to urinate. And I drink beer because I enjoy it, not because I feel like I need to urinate on myself by accident.
Good old malt liquor for you.
Yeah, good old malt liquor. I only peed my pants because of that beer.
All right, chasing rabbits. All right, what's next?
Squirrel.
Going off track here.
So dirtbuzz.com. This past weekend, National Hare and Hound round 2 in Murphy, Idaho, and Dale Spangler made a fun video. It's on dirtbuzz.com. Gary Sutherland got the win, which is impressive. We'll have him on a little bit later. Ricky Brabeck in second, and then Skylar Howes in third. Great to see Skylar Howes up there. I know that Jacob Argubright was in first for a long time, but wound up having some issues, and then wound up finishing way back in 20th, so didn't get a chance to figure out what happened, but obviously seems like probably a mechanical. GNCC this past weekend, we did have round 3 at Steel Creek in Morgantown, North Carolina. Caleb Russell got the win, even though he was second, and then third for the past 2 rounds. Josh String got second. He was first for the past 2 rounds, and then Chris Bach getting on the podium. Yeah, Josh String was excited to be on the podium those 2 times, but then he was not excited to not be first for this 3rd time. Reading the GNCC write-up, it was pretty interesting to hear what he had to say. So then we had Big 6 Grand Prix round 4 where Eric Yober got the win over Robbie Bell and then Blaine Thompson. And then the Virginia Cross-Country Hare Scramble Series over there in the northeast of Brad Bakken land is Mike Lafferty actually got the win. Patty Holloway in second and Brad Bakken in third. Pretty neat, huh?
I thought it was Bacon.
Bakken.
I've been saying it wrong this whole time.
That's okay. Jordan, live on the Endurocross webcast, was going, Hacker. Colton Hacker. Hacker. The whole time. And I'm over there, Hacker, until she would go, Hacker, and then I'd go, Hacker. And it was like, So
Bet he loved that.
just make it up, whatever. Just have fun with it. And I did ask Brad. I was like, "Boy, why did you let Mr. Black Lafferty beat you?" He goes, "Boy, that dude is still super fast."
Mm-hmm.
But I did crash and lose a glove, and I had to put it back on. He goes, which is very weird.
Lost a glove mid-crash?
Right. I know. I was like, "Buddy, we need to call Dale Spangler and be like, what up?"
Surprised didn't lose his hand.
Right?
That's-
Like, how do you do that?
Wow.
But we're gonna go and get Mr. Ryan Sipes lined up here on the show and chat with him. We've held him 5 minutes longer than we said we would, and he's on vacation, and we can't have that kind of what is it? Hoolsassery, hands in the pantsery.
Man, he got me, dude. I don't know
Let's
what
go
she
with
just does.
Just make it happen, buddy. Let's make it happen. Yeah, but I'm excited. It'll be fun. All that recent dirt buzz and Mr. Caleb Ramsay being here, and then Ryan Sipes. You know what I mean?
Dude's my hero.
He is. He's a pretty badass American.
You know he won a Supercross in 2011.
Yeah, and he's also overall the ISDE. Hello, Mr. Ryan Sipes. How is your evening going?
Oh, it's going good. How are you guys?
Dude, we are fantastic. So you even mentioned late in the game to me that you are on vacation. I just have to say up front, thank you very much for spending a little bit of time with us and for your fans while you're on vacation with the fam family.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime.
You're like, I talk dirt bikes every day. Let's do this. That's the way we do. So you're on a new team, but not really. I mean, you kind of did the KTMs. You're doing your own team. Did a Husky. Did your own team. Now you're still on a Husky, but you're with a new team, the Coastal Racing Team. So I kind of just wanted to go into this going, all right, tell us a little bit about how this all came about with Coastal Racing kind of coming in and backing people like yourself, Craig DeLong, Layne Michael, and growing into essentially a full bore team, having ATV, UTV, and then dirt bikes. It's like, whoa, you guys are going at it. So talk to us. How did this happen?
Well, Coastal's been around forever. He's been racing UTVs and quads for years, and I don't know. We started chatting. He said he'd been thinking about doing a bike team for a couple years, and just everything hadn't really lined up. And we started chatting about midway through last year, and kind of talked about it, and seemed like everybody's kind of wanted the same thing, and I wanted to kind of get back on a team where I didn't have to do everything myself anymore, and kind of have a little bit more support on that end of it. And he was, it's been great. He went out and bought a 53-foot, the full deal semi, 2 slides. We're a legit, top-notch race team. Brought on 2 XC2 guys that are really good. They've got 3 podiums so far, I think, 3 or 4. And the Bryson Neal is on the quad side, and Eli Kiger, they're killing it. They're doing really good in their classes, and so everything's good. Real happy. It was like any brand new team. It's tough to start from nothing. So there's been some growing pains, but our bike's good. The team's good. We got a lot of good people around, and excited to go to the next race and get up on that box.
Yeah, no, you did. Your season, I think you even mentioned it in the GNCC race report, is that you're excited that your season so far this year isn't as slow to start as some of your previous GNCC series, because we've seen you get on the podium a lot in the back half of the season, but now you're getting a lot closer from the beginning. Obviously, you probably prefer to be there from the beginning, but hey, as you said, new team, a little bit of the growing pains and things of that nature. Being on this Coastal team, and are you guys factory supported by Husqvarna, or is Husqvarna a brand of choice that you guys kind of went with? How did you guys wind up on the Huskies?
I'd say a little bit of both. I knew I wanted to ride a Husky, and just because I believe in the bikes, and I know it's a really good bike and a good company. And then they do support us. They help us out with the bikes and engines and suspension and all that kind of stuff. So I think it was a little bit of both. I think everybody's real happy. I know Layne and Craig have been real happy with their. Craig was on Huskies before, but Layne was on a different bike, and he's been real happy with his switch to Husky. And the new bike is awesome, and we're all jiving pretty good with it. So
that's pretty fantastic, man. Now, and this isn't a bad thing, but this is one of those situations where I was talking with Jaron Bolton, and I asked him, I said, I have seen the Coastal team for a while in the UTV division. And I said, it's interesting because I've kind of tried to do a little bit of research on Coastal racing, or I'm sorry, the Coastal, what it is that supports, the Coastal side of what supports Coastal racing. And with very little information out there, I kind of was like, okay, well, this seems like at the time when this dude started all this, that it was... He had a very successful business, was extremely wealthy, and loved motorsports, and so started to put his money into that. And luckily enough, it grew into something where he was getting support, and now it's probably a little bit more of his own money, but he's able to kind of learn from what he's done, and not just in his own business, but the racing side of things, and grow into this kind of a team. Is this kind of like, could this grow into something even bigger, do you think? Or is this going to kind of maybe always be kind of that, very much run from his love of the sport and his ability to, have a little bit of extra capital to kind of put into this program?
Yeah, no, I think, he's a really smart businessman. So I don't think he got into it to make money, but I
Right.
also don't think that he got into it to spend all of his money. So, I think the ultimate goal is for us to do really well, and for, all the companies that we work with to step up even more. Maybe it's a new one, to step up even more to where maybe he's not spending all of his money, to run the team. And I think with Barry Hawk, he's the team manager now, and that's kind of his goal too. Is and all of our goals, we want to win races and be up front and be the best team out there as far as results, plus just looking good in the pits, interacting with our fans, really representing our sponsors well, and then that turns into more support. And then I think right now we are on par with the factories, but obviously we could get more support. So I think that's the goal for everybody.
Right. Absolutely. Talk to us a little bit about being under Barry Hawk. Like, the dude's obviously kicked a lot of butt. He's the only dude ever who's won an ATV and a dirt bike GNCC championship. So so far as a team manager, like, how is that going? Now, this is a new role for him as well, so it's probably growing pains in his division as well. But you're a racer, you've had other team managers.
Yeah, you should have him on and ask him about it, and I'll tune in and watch it for sure. He's done a great job. Obviously he's brand new to it, so he was always on the riding side. He was always a racer, and he's got the 3 bikes, 2 quads, and then 3 or 4 UTVs that he's got to deal with. 3 different rigs, all those different people, all kinds of different parts, budgets, and the whole deal. Building all those bikes, he don't build them, but he pretty much
Right.
oversees it and ordering parts and all that. So he's got such a big job. It's crazy that he keeps up, and I think it's a bigger. It's just a steep learning curve. I think it was for me when I did my own thing. I didn't realize how much I had a whole lot more respect for my team managers in the past. After I had started my own team, it was like, I can't believe how much work this is.
Right.
And his is triple or quadruple that. And he got kind of thrown into the fire. No warm up or nothing. It was like, hey, you're a trail boss now. All of a sudden, you got all these bikes and quads and rigs and everything, and take off. And so that's why I said it was a little bit of growing pains and everything. Every team, especially one you start from scratch, comes together at the very last minute. But he's done a great job, and I've had a real good time working with him, and looking forward to more, because I think he's got a lot of knowledge and a lot of, as far as the riding part and the mental game and everything. So I'm having a good time working with him, but looking forward to the rest of the year working more with him.
For sure.
I've seen a little bit of that when Brian started the SMS Shea Racing National
Oh, yeah,
Switchgear.
yeah.
And so I was working at the shop at that time, and I've seen a little bit of the backside of it, and it is really amazing how much work goes into the backside of it that nobody sees, and a lot of those team managers don't get the
credit.
the credit they deserve. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think what people don't realize is that a team manager is not only is he he's a face for a lot of the stuff that goes on, but you're saying the behind the scenes stuff. He's also the guy that sends all the emails. He's the guy who writes all the checks. He's the guy who's ordering all the parts.
When you see him at the track, he doesn't look like he's doing crap because he's just like high and waving, but it's everything up until the races during the week.
If he did his job well, he's calm on the weekend.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's your turn, Mr. Ryan Sipes, to be nervous and flustered on the weekends. Get the butterflies out of the way. Hey, so with your Huskies that you guys are riding, did you go to the 450 this year, or are you still on the 350?
I'm still on the 350.
We're on the 350. Okay. Are you on air forks or spring?
We're running the cone valve spring forks.
Okay. So I wanted to know, now being the fact that you are a past Supercross badass and motocrossery of badassery, what is your take on, yeah, you like that. That's a good title.
Yeah.
On all the kind of air fork, spring fork stuff, and maybe that you've now been, in the off-road world a little bit more, and probably, I would imagine you've hopefully at least thrown your leg over some of the air forks in the off-road world. How would that possibly affect us, like air forks in the off-road world, and maybe some more light shed on why it's such a struggle for guys in kind of the large Supercross, motocross world?
I think I only rode the air fork 2 years, 2012 in outdoors, and then 2013 in outdoors. I rode the 450 both of those years in outdoors, and I mean, I always liked them. They're definitely different, but and I always thought when I started into off-road, I'm like, man, if they could get the air fork figured out, I think it would be really good for off-road. I don't think they've got it figured out yet, because with the air fork, you can't have a leaky fork seal. You can't blow a fork seal or you're done. And I don't think they've got that part figured out. I don't know. I mean, as far as for us, I mean, we're going through so much water, so many creeks and mud and sand, and I mean, it's nothing to do one race and have a leaky fork seal. And that's with any fork, stock forks, cone valve. I mean, and all the guys is the same thing. It's like you're pretty much getting stuff rebuilt almost every race, because if you do go through some mud or some water, it gets right up in there. Well, if you got an air fork, you're not finishing the race, or if you are, you're not going to go very fast if you've got a leaky fork seal.
Unless you can ride awesome wheelies.
Well, yeah, I mean, unless you're Doug DeMocos, I mean, you ain't going to do nothing.
That dude was awesome.
So, but I mean, I think once they get it figured out, it could be pretty cool, because I think there's probably, the weight savings would be big, but also I think the air. Without a spring in there, it'd probably move a little bit better on the smaller stuff, the roots and rocks and stuff that we deal with. You don't really deal with as much in moto. Yeah. But I honestly haven't ridden an air fork off road yet. My first year I rode stock stuff on the KTM's, and then last year and this year I've been on the cone valve, and that stuff works really good. So we haven't had any inclination to use any air stuff yet.
Well, I look forward to getting a chance to give your bike the old seat time test one day. Throw my leg.
All right, seat time rides Ryan Sipes.
Yes, I think Ryan Sipes' bike ride seat time. That's probably the way it's gonna go over. Unfortunately, so here's a dumb question. Now, how you're what, in your mid 30s, early 30s?
31.
31. You're in your early 30s. Okay, so you're still a baby, which is fine. Me too. Have you ever ridden a mountain bike without an air fork?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah.
I had one that was like a 99 model, and it was top of the line at the time. I bought it brand new, and it had like it didn't even have a spring in it.
It had elastomers?
The elastomer thing, and then I had a spring fork, and now I got air stuff.
It's pretty nuts, though. I mean, you think about it. You just said it, 99, right? Like, I had the same thing, RockShox Q21. And then when I had extra money, one day I bought the Judy. That's like when Judy was the, like, almost top of the line, like, back there before they came out with the Sid. But if you think about it, like, that's 20 years of growth that they've gone through in this market. Why in the time that we've been messing around with air forks and even air shocks, that it's something that we can't, think about like car industry people, all the other big industries, they hire out. They just say, hey, we need you to help make our shit work better. You want X amount of dollars. We want it to work that well, so we're going to hire you, bring you into our team, and you're going to help us figure it out. Do you know in your realm in the industry if they've ever kind of like gone to that extreme, or do they just continuously work on it, within their own means, and maybe they're just not hitting the right keys yet to make it work? Because it seems retarded that it wouldn't be a closed chamber and that it would rely on a fork seal to keep the pressure in. I mean, that just seems ridiculous.
Well, see, I'm pretty sure the KTM or the WP air fork is a closed chamber.
Okay.
And it doesn't rely on your main fork seal. It's the inner, it's your inner chamber that is your spring, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But I've still heard that some people are blowing them out. So somehow,
it just seems like we need a total revamp of the way that you think a motorcycle fork should work.
You should go right side up forks with some of the, what do you call those?
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Them guys.
The things that the scrunchies.
Boots?
The boots, yeah. I'm going on a blank.
I don't know where you were going. It was
like a
how much
xylophone
of this? Like, I don't
or whatever.
know. That's a wide girth if you're playing around with that.
Right, Woody.
Yeah.
There's a right side up. You need to design a right side up air fork, and then that'll keep out of all the mud and dirt, and it'll look awesome on any 2017 motorcycle.
Super retro, guys. Super retro. I like it. We could roll with this.
Yeah, I know, $1 million idea there. You can diving straight into it.
All right, make it. You're an engineering type. Before we totally let you get back to your family, because we do appreciate your time, is ISDE chatter just a little bit. Now, we've had some big stuff in the off-road in the ISDE land since, the World Trophy team used to be 6 riders, will now be down to 4, which is 1 less than it ever was. It used to be 5 until I think 53. So we'll be going down to 4 for the 2016 ISDE, and the junior trophy team is going from 4 to 3. Excuse me. Now that you've been a couple times, I'm sure that you kind of have some discussion back and forth. It's probably just due to financials, honestly. It's so expensive nowadays to get across the country or across the world and to do all those kinds of racing. But what are your thoughts on kind of some of the changes and what this means moving forward for the ISDE?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. It come down to it was too expensive for countries to send teams, and so basically they were either going to get nobody show up, or they're going to have to bring it down, take it down to 4. I don't know what it means for us. I know we're going to have a really good team as far as as last year it was Caleb and I and Taylor were. Each guy kind of had his ups and downs, but we were in the top 10, and me and Caleb were top 2, until Caleb got hurt. So there's 3 of us that are going to be really, really close to the front, I think. And with Taylor doing the World Enduro now, he's probably going to go smoke us all. He's going to have all that experience now. But and then the 4th guy, I don't know who they're going to get, but there's a lot of good guys out there. So I think. But it's probably going to be the same for all the countries. They're all going to go, well, yeah, we can. We've got 4 guys that can be, right at the front. We've got a really good team. I'm excited about it. I'm really looking forward to going back, and who knows what it's going to be. I still think that we get a throwaway each day. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm just excited. I think that they said it's in Spain, northern Spain, and talked to a guy that's been up there, and he said the food's great and the terrain's cool. It's might be a little dry, but I don't know. I'm just looking forward to it. I like the ISD. I love the format and going over there to a different country and hanging out for 2 weeks, and the whole process of walking all the tests freaking 5 times a piece, and hanging out with all your buddies and getting crazy in rental cars. I like the whole thing.
I've heard some rental car stories.
Yeah.
Lots of them from there.
I've heard some really good after party stories when Brian Story's wife isn't around.
Sean's gonna be pissed.
Ooh, she doesn't listen to the show.
So are you get to run a big fat number 1 on your front number plate, right?
Oh, I don't. I doubt it. I probably run number 57 or something. We didn't even finish the race last year, so.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, he's gonna run. Yeah, you're gonna wind up getting stuck with whatever Whatever the
Yeah,
team
the team
finished
number,
at that
not the
point,
personal number. Yeah.
Boo.
Well,
I'll
whatever.
put a little number 1 on
Yeah.
somewhere on the bike. though.
You
I
have to. I mean, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
you
you need
know?
to get like a little one with like a target around it, like so it's like a.
It's like, come and get me, but don't.
Yeah,
But don't.
Yeah, because I'm gonna win, motherfuckers. Well, dude, we really appreciate you taking some time away from your evening to chat with us. Is there anything else that you would like to tell us that maybe we didn't ask?
No, I'd just like to say thanks to all my sponsors. Coastal, obviously, Rockstar, Husky, MSR, Leat, Dragon, Dunlop, FMF, all the people that have stepped up to a lot of my sponsors that I had the last 2 years doing my own thing. They followed me to this new team, and so that's been good. And a lot of new people that I haven't worked with until this year, but they've all been great. Everybody for all the crew, my mechanic Jeff, Barry, Scott, everybody with the team is everybody's still. I think everybody's got the same idea, same focus. Everybody wants to win races and do our best and look good and be professional. And just thankful to be a part of that because I've been on the other end of it.
Yes.
So I'm thankful to be a part of that.
Right on, dude. Well, dude, yeah, travel safe. We'll see you 16th, 17th for GNCC, and then will you be at the ISDE FMF or Full Gas Sprint Enduro the following weekend?
Is that in West Virginia?
Yes, the 23rd, 24th.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Oh.
Hopefully, though. Hopefully.
Ryan Sipes. Awesome, dude. Seriously, good job being a badass, and we will definitely chat soon.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. How did it go?
Oh, yeah. Pretty good.
Were you like, oh my gosh, Mr. Ryan Sipes?
Well, no, I was sitting right here. You know what I said.
Oh, that's
I
true.
didn't say that.
I was like wondering. I was like looking. I was like, what's that? Oh, that's just an erection. We'll just go with that. It's fine.
What's that musical device that you play like this and it's got the
accordion?
Accordion. Okay, that's what word I was looking for. You got like the accordions on the right side up.
Yeah, but
forks.
you never called it an accordion on a motorcycle. You called it a fork boot.
Oh, that kind of looked like one.
I mean, sure, it
acted like it. It looked like it.
But you would call it a...
Scrunchy is the best thing I can come up with.
Scrunchy. Yeah, we can go. I mean, that kind of works.
Yeah,
it kind of works.
Yeah. So what do we got next?
Well, we're about to call in James Curry from Tube Saddle so we could talk about this awesome, cool, fun product. I do run tubeless right now, and do you run tubes?
Tubeless in the front, bib in the rear.
Okay, so see, this will be interesting because we get a chance to kind of talk about his product and how it kind of brings a little bit of the bib to a little bit of the tubeless idea, but then still having a tube. So it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to learning more about it and get more information out to everybody else. While we get James called in, though, it's interesting is that X Games Endurocross has been canceled from the schedule. I mean, and from as much as I can gather from my PR, from my press release contacts, or my media contacts at ESPN, and then talking to Eric Bernard with Endurocross, they have canceled it as of right now. They're like, as of right now, it is not on our schedule. And it's just weird. It's like, why can't you just say it's not here?
I know X Games is kind of always like evolving and stuff, but it's so prestigious to win a gold medal at X Games, and it is. I'm not taking that away from anybody, but it kind of sucks when it's like you win a gold medal in an event, and then it's like, oh, that event doesn't exist anymore. It's like, it's kind of lame, Supermoto was pretty cool.
Think about the Olympics. That happens to the Olympics almost every year or every 4 years.
There's
true. There's some weird sport that gets pulled and they add snowboarding. Which I like snowboarding, don't get me wrong, but still like
water polo? I know it's hard, but come on.
I know, man. Grape smugglers. It's awesome. They'd have a woman's polo. I'd be all over that. Wow. Ladies all wet up in the pool and stuff.
Man. So it just kind of bums me out, and it sucks to see, some events, not go. But you know what? Brett Q is going to be in Best Whip this year. Yeah, the Best Whip,
which is awesome because he was like a runners-up or something.
Yeah, freaking finally. Homeboy's only been throwing it upside down for 4 years, and they finally let it. I don't know. X Games is so cool, and it gets under my skin at the same time.
Yep. I agree. I agree. Well, Mr. James, are you there?
I am here.
Woohoo!
Can you hear me fine?
Yeah. We hear you fantastic. Actually, this is fantastic. So you have the best audio ever. Do you actually have like a headphone or a microphone going?
I got a wired headphone set in my computer.
See, everybody who's a guest on the show, take note from the awesome dude on the computer right now that it works better when you have a microphone and a headphone set thingy of greatness. So thank you for being technologically savvy. I don't do grammar. And thank you for coming on Seat Time. So, a couple years ago, and you can obviously clear up the actual details, but you
Sure.
came up with tube saddle. And
Correct.
So let me just give you what I think it is, and then you tell me where I might be wrong. So I like the idea of this because it looks like the ability to put it between your rim and your tube, and so that way you can run a little bit less tire pressure and diminish, if not completely remove, your chances at getting a pinch flat.
That's a very good synopsis of what the focus of it is.
Nice. Somebody hire me. I'm looking for a pay raise.
Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Talk to us about how long it's been going on, where the idea came from, and then a little bit about the product.
Okay. I'll get to the story of Tube Saddle. I'm 52 years old. I started riding and racing in like 1982, 83. Okay. And I advanced to the expert class and doing enduro work within 4 years. And I started playing with it. And I found out I really loved running an enduro at like 9, 10 PSI with particular tires at the time. I think they were Dunlop 756s. But man, you start playing with that, you're risking, bam, you hit something and you got the instant pinch flat.
Yep.
And buddy mine was, explaining it to me, a couple times, trail riding, you get one, you got to fix the thing on the side of the trail. Back in the day when you had good tire patching, vulcanizing kits, which the EPA has completely eliminated.
Jerks.
Oh, God, those things were great. I mean, they were a lifesaver in Baja.
Oh, yeah.
But you'd find that you'd have a pinch down in the rim area, and I go, that's weird. How come it's not up in the knobby? And he goes, well, that's called a pinch flat. And what's happening is the beat of the tires, you're deflecting it, and you're knocking it in towards the center of the rim, and it rolls over the inner tube and takes out the inner tube up in at the rim area.
Yep.
I call that type 1 pinch flat. Type 2 is the classic snake bite, where you just sandwich the whole carcass of the tire. And in that quick hit, you're sandwiching the inner tube by the carcass of the tire. What's the weak link? The weak link is the inner tube. Okay?
Yep.
30 years has been, they just keep making thicker and bigger inner tubes, like way heavier and heavier. Then the other one is, moose bib. Expensive, a nightmare. I remember watching the first time I saw a moose bib get installed was by Dave Bertram for Team Suzuki. He was doing 6 bikes all at once. Back then they were lubing them up with axle grease. It was the nastiest looking job I ever saw.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a process to put a bib in.
Well, that was at the beginning of it when they hadn't figured out the lubes that they have today.
Oh, well, I'm sure the first porn stars would have said the same thing. Did it get weird?
Any event, it was about, I just got fed up with running tire pressures, doing off-road things at like 14 PSI, 16, just to avoid getting a pinch flat because the traction's just terrible. And I thought, why can't we get something simpler other than the moose bib? The tubeless system's got its problems. And it was granted it's a good product, but you got to run it with a brand new tire, The tire ball system, that's the nightmare to work with. Very bulletproof, but you got to be on top of it, break it down, put pressure in every single ball. Not user-friendly. So about 8 years ago, I decided to brainstorm and try to do let's see if I can make an adjustable moose bib. And, I put something together, put it in my bike, went out riding with my buddies. I was carrying an extra tube, just expecting the thing to fail. And sure enough, 14 miles in, the whole thing grenaded on me. I'm on the side of the trail, ripping this thing out. And they're like, what the hell's that? I'm like, never mind. I stuff it away in my backpack. About 2 weeks later, in the garage, I decided to look at my disaster and I noticed that the foam up in the rim area was in really good shape. Everything else was just destroyed. And that's when I had the epiphany. It dawned on me, maybe I'll to isolate the inner tube from interaction with the bead of the tire, the rim, and the rim lock.
Mm-hmm.
And then, hey, maybe I can just get away with running inner tubes and just start running the tire pressures that I wanted. So I went about 6-7 years running these kludged up prototypes in my bike, KTM 500 EXC, doing Southern California desert racing and enduros, running like 10 PSI front and rear, and just hooking up, not getting flats. And I decided I need to take this to the next level. So the focus of my product is to make this thing affordable, make people, get way better traction. I've even had guys saying it's like having my suspension revalve, because the first level of your suspension is your air pressure in your tire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I've come across. I mean, I have some guys, the product's been used all over the place. From some guys have been running them in enduro cross, enduros, GNCC, Hare scrambles. I'm now into the motocross. I've been working heavily on that. But Score Baja, even speedway riders are starting to use it because it's so incredibly light. They don't run rim locks, and they can't afford the tire to roll over and get a pinch flat at, speeds they're going with an alcohol bike with no brakes.
Yep.
And, some of the advantages of it are, once you figure out how to install and insert it, my website has plenty of information from videos. My background's mechanical engineering from my college days, and the way I built my website is to be informative.
Yep.
Let you know.
And so those who want to know, it's tubesaddle.com. So
exactly.
Pretty straightforward.
You just type in Google tube space saddle, and I'm the first hit. And you get right there.
Yeah, that used to be my nickname in college, but luckily enough, that one's gone now. So we got rid of that. He was able to take it over. It's a good thing, though. Nobody needs those pictures to resurface.
Dude, the endos, man. Come on.
It was an endo.
But anyway, that was how I kind of came across this thing. And, it doesn't solve 100% flats because you still got a tube. There's still a potential for a flat.
Right.
But the mere fact that, you can actually get a better setup with tube saddle with a good heavy-duty inner tube, properly lubed, inside the tire. You can get a better setup than you can with a moose bib.
Yeah, because this way you can control from day one of installing the tube saddle with a tube, you can control the air pressure, where with the bib, right when you install it, it's stiff.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's like whatever it came at is, if it's 20 psi, that's what it is until it starts to kind of wear down a little bit.
So you mentioned lube. You are using a lube of some kind. The evolution of it, when I really started getting into this the last year and a half, I'd start going on the low ends. I've gone out and I debuted my product at King of Motos. Got Kevin Murphy to run it. The night before, he was about ready to put a brand new moose bib, and I just said to him, Kevin, I think you'd be better off with my product. And he had an open mind and said, really, why? I go, well, you're putting that brand new moose bib in with a brand new tire, hasn't been broken in. Right from the start of King of Motos, that's going to feel like about 14, 15 PSI. You're going to be breaking the thing in during the race. You put my thing in, we'll dial you up. And so he got on board. So we're doing a last-minute scramble, installing it. He had an ultra heavy duty tube, which is fine. Double rim locking the rear. And we set him up at, I believe it was like 6 PSI rear tire pressure. And he ended up, taking first place in the amateur class, 12th overall. Couldn't believe the traction.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's proof in the pudding right there.
Yeah, that was my kind of debut of saying, there is something else out there that's different. And what dawned on me is, why are we double rim locking bikes? That is ridiculous. And as I started cutting up the carcasses of tires to make display units, I stumbled across one thing, that the thickness of the beads of the tires by all the manufacturers vary by over 46%. Some are, a Dunlop's thin, a Maxxis IT is thick.
That's right.
And rim lock designs have not changed. The industry's had their head up their butt for 40, 50 years on this. They don't change the design. And what they do is they bottom out in the rim. Okay, so it doesn't matter how much more you tighten that nut. All you're doing is pulling on the on the stud, causing it to eventually break out if it's into a vulcanized rim lock design. And then once you lose that, there pulls your Schrader valve out. So I started working. I want to be able to do a single rim lock and run low tire pressure. So I've developed my own rim lock. It's low profile. It tucks in. It's got teeth that bite. It never touches the rim. So all the torque that you put on that nut goes directly into grabbing the bead of the tire up against the rim. And, I've done like a 300 miles, 6 PSI front and rear with a KTM 500. Granted, 60 miles of it's pavement back and forth, but then get on the off-road and the tire doesn't move on the rim. So I had to knock that one out. And the other thing I found, when you're running lower tire pressure, you at the higher speeds, like Score Baja, they're generating so much heat in the sidewall of the tire that the heat cannot dissipate from that tire for a long period of time. That translates to the inner tube, and you get heat-related inner tube failures, which is why they have a difficulty running Moose bibs on rears in Baja.
They disintegrate so quickly out there.
They just disintegrate. You can run them, but you can only go like maybe 200-300 miles, and you better swap a whole rim out. And then, is it worth it really to have a bunch of different Mooses? And is it worth the tire change that quick all the time or not?
Right.
I have a guy that ran. A guy named John Sylvester did the Score San Felipe 250, running my product, and he told me I was running 13.5 psi rear tire pressure. That's unheard of in the Score type racing.
Right.
That's 16, 19 psi range, somewhere up there. And so I working to develop a better lubrication system between the inner tube and the tire, and I'm hoping to get that on the market soon. So between that, I spent the 2015, pretty much working, trying to get this thing introduced into the off-road world, which is where I come from. I realized I gotta hit the motocross market. Different breed of guys doing things differently. So in December, I started going out to REM in Glen Helen, where Jody Weissel and all the MXA guys are. Within 2 weeks of them, demoing the product in one of the bikes, guy took both his whole shots, started just smoking I set him up at 10 psi, and he couldn't believe it. And within 2 weeks, MXA top 20 products, must-have products of the year, I get ranked 6th. Mm-hmm. I just got a 5-star rating from them in which is their highest rating, but apparently they say they never give it out, very rarely. That came out in April. So I'm trying to work all ends of the market. The advantage is you can run it with any tire. Doesn't matter if it's a used tire, which is one of the problems with the tubeless system.
Yep.
Even if you do get a flat or you can still get punctures. You can still get a pinch flat if you just cream it. You hit something so hard. I mean, you've seen where people dent their rims, break spokes. I mean, there is a point where you're going to explode almost anything you hit. So for the really hardcore, top-of-the-line racing class, they got to stick with the miserable Moose bib.
Yep.
But for everybody in between, they got this alternative option, which is, 1/2 to 1/3 the cost of the other options on the market. It can last pretty darn long. I got a guy that runs it in Lake Havasu, rides all over the place, does work for MX43.com. He put 3,000 miles on a set of my tube saddles running a rear Pirelli MT43 Trials tire. I was kind of like, you get the golden star for the most miles ever put on a set of tube saddles. So, for guys that like to run Trials tires, this is the way to go, because Trials tires aren't meant to be run at the higher speeds that we do in off-road, and they do roll off the rim and catch the inner tube.
So where can you grab this guy? Tubesaddle.com and your local dealer, or is it only available at the tubesaddle.com currently?
It's available at tubesaddle.com. Actually, I kind of prefer all you guys out there, if you're going to buy it there, because it helps me out a lot better as I'm trying to ramp this thing up. But I'm developing dealer direct pricing, trying to get some local shops scattered throughout the United States. And I believe it's going to be available. I just shipped a bunch off today to Rocky Mountain ATV.
Oh, very nice.
They contacted me about 3 or 4 weeks ago, wanting to distribute my product because they saw the write up in Motocross Action, and it was a little ahead of my business plan because it's tough to start and grow, and you can't grow your business faster than your cash flow comes in, and you got to meet demand.
Yep.
So it's a whole new world. But anyway, that's kind of what I'm up to.
That's fantastic. What's your average install time? Does it add anything really to your installation time?
Good question. It probably adds about 4 or 5 minutes at the most until you really dial it down. My website's got installation videos. I'm going to need to update some things, but put it this way: here's what you do. You take your inner tube. Let's say if it's an already used tube and it's not out of the box. All right, lube your tire with baby powder. Mm-hmm. Put the inner tube in there. Then stuff the tube saddle over the Schrader valve hole and stick it all into the carcass of the tire. So now you pretty much got what appears to be kind of like a moose bib, so to speak, right?
Yep.
Okay. Then the difference between a moose bib is you got to put your hand in there, get by the valve stem, and push the valve stem through the hole in the rim. Start the nut. Okay, so it won't pull out. And you're best to have your rim lock, 4 or 5 inches away from where the valve stem holes, as opposed to the opposite side of the rim. Okay, you tuck that bead underneath the rim lock, and you walk this thing on like a moose bib. And one of the beauties is you can't take your inner tube out with your tire iron, which we've all done at some point in time. Either on an uninstall or install when you're out on the trail. And they only weigh about between 5 and 6.5 ounces per tire. So, it's incredibly light. And over time, within the first 30, 40 miles you're riding, it starts to conform itself to the inside of the rim. So it really just takes all the interaction between the inner tube, the bead of the tire, and the rim lock out of the equation.
Right on. So we've got the tube saddle, which seems like a really great alternative, honestly, for those that ultra heavy duty tubes suck installing. So if you can get away with the heavy duty or not even needing to go that route, and then being able to not get pinch flats and not spend the money that you would spend and some of the time and drilling involved with a tubeless system, and then of course the money and all the other involvement with
tubeless tires, tires slime,
stuff.
trying to get that thing to seal, and then if you don't keep up on that inner bladder, you're asking for. To me, though, the main weak link of the tubeless system is if you're like down in Baja or whatever, you better be every morning making sure that thing's pressurized to about 110 psi.
Oh, I know. I was down there with one.
and when they go and you can't get it to seal, you're like you're scrounging a buddy. Do you have a tube? And then you throw the tubeless system to the side, and you got all that, slime goop inside the tire, and you're cramming it in an inner tube. It's not the funnest thing in the world.
Yeah. Well, what's cool is that you've got other stuff coming too. So we got the extra rim locks, or the better rim locks, and then of course you're going to have the better lubrication system coming in the future. Besides staying up to date with your website, which was tubesaddle.com, do you have Facebook or anything like that where people can also stay kind of up to date with everything?
I got
there?
it. You got Tube Saddle Facebook. Even from my website, there's a Facebook link, but it'll bring you right there. You can scroll down through it. I got a reasonable amount of sponsored writers that bring stuff to me to post. The one interesting one, it's an Instagram photo of a guy named Cole Tompkins in motocross when he was riding the motocross action bike with the product first installed in there. And you watch him take a hole shot and just leap out in front of everybody else. It's kind of Willie Surratt got opened up his eyes. I know that they had flat tires at Detroit. Yep. I'm waiting for that crowd to wake up and go, hey, if you're running, the motto is if you're running inner tubes and you're racing with inner tubes, this thing's a no-brainer. It's just that extra level of protection, and then dial in your tire pressure to where it really works. As off-road guys, it's 16, 14 psi. You're ripping along. You hit some rock pretty good, and it deflects you 5-6 degrees one way or the other. And you're making these constant corrections because you're riding on a pogo stick tire setup. When you can get down to around 10, 11 psi, everything smooths out.
Yep, totally agree, and I look forward to trying it out. Well, dude, we've got to go chat with Mr. Gary Sutherland a little bit, but this is awesome. So tubesaddle.com for everybody to go check it out. James, thank you very much for coming and chatting about it with us on Seat Time, and I, of course, look forward to seeing the product in person and then hearing about your new lubrication that's going to be coming out.
Absolutely. We'll keep in touch, and I don't mind doing this again sometime.
Love it, man. Well, thanks. You have a great night, and we really appreciate the time.
Alrighty.
Have
Thank
a good
you.
one. Bye.
Okay.
Whoa, Mr. Gary Sutherland coming up. Now, you were saying you do tubeless in the front and bib moose in the rear.
Yes, sir.
You know, what would you try this? Like maybe not doing the bib moose in the rear and just kind of seeing?
I would like to try that. I wouldn't mind trying that in the front. Just something, to be lightweight and balance the tire is always a good idea. But no, I think I wouldn't mind messing with that and seeing how it works. So
yeah, I would like to try it. I do run tubeless front and rear because this bib's just so dang expensive. So for somebody like myself, it's just not going to happen. But Mr. Gary Sutherland, it might happen more often because he's rich.
I'm rich. Huh?
Rolling in the dough.
Rolling in the dough. You know it.
You got my did you get my $20 fee thingy that I sent you after your injury?
Yes, I believe. Well, no, what was it?
I don't. It was on the little
what are you talking about?
Kickstarter, but it was for your recovery fund.
Oh yeah, okay. Say hi, Ian.
Hey, what's up? I like that you're always on Seat Time. You're probably better at this than we are.
Say what's going on, guys?
What's going on?
Oh, just hanging out, drinking some beer. Hopefully, you're not doing the same thing.
We're talking about dirt bikes.
You drink beer?
No.
No, beer's icky, huh?
Yeah.
It's interesting,
Bye,
Liam.
go watch your movie, okay?
Bye-bye.
Bye. Have fun.
Go watch your movie. Go. Hey. Go watch your movie. What? We're negotiating for candy right now. Yes, you can get one candy. Go.
I like it.
Yes, grab it.
I
See,
love it.
there comes that point where you're just like, I have to give in. I'm like, oh, all right, whatever.
Yeah, or it turns into a 10-minute conversation that you're like, why am I having this conversation for 10 more minutes?
You gotta pick and choose your battles. I mean,
I agree.
one piece of candy, I'll pay for it later.
Yep.
So
She's like
what's going
4 years old, getting her first cavity. It's like, Dad.
Because of Seat Time, dude.
Yeah, I blame us. Well,
better
we're
candy than,
go ahead.
what's that?
No, you tell
No,
me.
I said better candy than normal seat time attire of beer.
This is true. There's probably enough sugar on my teeth to kill people. We'll see. But dude, I just have to say, holy shit. So we want to know a little bit more about your accident because, again, on the West Coast, we only get so much news here in the middle. Everything either goes to the East Coast and
West
stuff,
East.
but it's all that kinds of stuff. But so talk to us a little bit about your injury and then obviously your recovery, and then we'll talk a little bit about all the badassery of you coming back like a rock star.
That's a good word, badassery. I don't know. Is that even a word?
It is now.
He coined it earlier in the show.
I've been using that for a long time. I just make stuff up. We just roll with it.
I like it. It was I made the move out to Arizona and was actually out on December 23rd training with Destry and 4 or 5 other guys, and we had a good day. It rained. Everything was good. My parents were coming into town for Christmas, and I rode. We were all at the end of the day, and I was like, all right, guys, we're going to ride up this wash. I rode up this wash a little ways, looked back, and nobody was behind me, so I thought, sat there, and next thing you know, I'm like, all right, it's been a few minutes. Something must have been happening, so I turned around. And I don't remember anything after that. I just turned around, and next thing you know, I was waking up with my face down in the sand. And what had happened was I turned around. Destry was coming at me, and I was coming back at him. Well, one of the guys in the group actually went flying by Destry, not realizing that I wasn't that I was coming back.
Right.
And Destry watched the whole thing. I was doing about 10 miles an hour, and the guy hit me he was doing probably about 40. He just hit me head on, and we went flying in the air, knocked us both out cold, and I rode my bike back to the house, and I was like, should go to the hospital. Went to the hospital, and found out that I lacerated my spleen. They took me to to a different hospital. Spent 3 days in the hospital. Sent me home. I got to spend Christmas in the hospital. That was fun.
Yay!
So, yeah, and then came home. And the next morning, I woke up and something just wasn't right. Like I started getting sick, and my stomach started getting bigger, and I ended up rupturing my spleen. Like I woke up and it ruptured, and I rushed back. We got back into the hospital, and they're like, "Oh crap! Like you're bleeding out." So they rushed me into ICU, and they ended up. It's kind of a catch-22. They ended up embolizing my spleen. So what they did was they went in and put 3 coils in my spleen, and then put a plug in it, and basically stopped the bleeding, instead of just taking it out, which they said, if we do this procedure, your spleen's going to be just as strong and everything's going to be good. Well, after 2 months of just basically hell, trying to recover and trying to get on a bicycle and keep a little bit of my base, and the biggest problem was my hemoglobin, my blood count went down. It dropped down to you're supposed to be at 14. It dropped all the way down to 8.4. So I had to build all my red blood cells back, but. No. What? Yes, go ahead. Sorry. Negotiating. Yeah, negotiating. She knows. She's got me trapped now. She's like, you can't do anything about it. So the biggest thing was, and then coming back from trying to build my red blood cells, and just the pain and internal injuries are really weird because you don't really know what's going on. It's not like an arm where you're like, well, it hurts, Right. And so I ended up going back in the hospital 2 more times, and then recently, I found out that they're never going to release me to ride ever, because my spleen will never be as strong as it was before, and here go. My spleen will never be as strong as it was before, and there's too much risk riding a dirt bike, of course. So they're like, we can't release you. So I just kind of I talked to Auntie at KTM and was like, hey, this is the deal we have. And I ended up having to sign some legal paperwork, and basically I just started riding and doing my own thing and just going off a feel. So it's kind of scary, and because they won't even give me hey, it's healed, or go ahead and start riding, because they don't want the liability.
Yeah, holy shit.
So yeah, it's been a fun 3 months, guys.
Dude, there's a lot of intensity in all of those parts of the conversation. Not just the stuff of what you had to go through when you wake up and go, I don't feel that good. I'm feeling sick, realizing your stomach's getting bigger. So then there's internal bleeding. And then there's everything that comes along with the fact that yeah, we're not going to release you to ride again.
Dude, hospitals and insurance companies are the worst. That's all there is to it. I'm sure you're just so far into that right now. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Well, the little bit of was it GoFundMe? Was okay? Did that help? Was that beneficial?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, no, of course, everything, and I appreciate everybody, stepping up. It's tough because, when you're in the hospital, I mean, anybody that's been in the hospital knows you're on drugs. You got people coming in and out, and my phone's blowing up, and the GoFund, I can't remember who set it up. I'm trying to remember the name of it. The company, they help quite a few people out, and they just spontaneously did it. And I couldn't be more thankful for them. And, of course, I have health insurance, but, of course, there's, things that aren't covered under network, and you find all these little flaws in your insurance. It's like, hey, why am I paying all this money? And then now all of a sudden you guys are sending me all these medical bills. So, of course, it helped. And, I can't thank everybody enough for, pitching in and helping out. And, everybody that stuck behind me during that whole process, and calling, and, the texts and everything. And, I mean, I will tell you this. I got on my phone a couple weeks after I got out of the hospital, and I'm like, I don't remember talking to half the people.
Why did Brian send me this picture of his? Oh, now I know why Brian did that.
No, I remember that.
Yeah, we're like, it's so small.
I sent it to all my buddies. I was like, Destry, Kiefer, all those guys. I was like, hey, check this out.
Yeah, Woody, just as small as we would have imagined. It's quite unfortunate. So we had a fun, awkward question in the chat room, and it's seat time. I mean, your kid's getting candy on the show. Obviously, we're making people's lives better daily, if not hourly. So what we've got to do is just go ahead and ask it. And he said he wanted me to ask you if you enjoy making it awkward between you and Ivan and the KTM team, and when will KTM move you to the top?
Do I like to make it awkward? What I guess.
I think his, in the sense that you are riding much better than Ivan. currently is kind of so it's like.
It's tough. I mean, I like Ivan. Like me and Ivan get along, of course. I mean, we're not like best friends, like calling each other up to go riding, but. When at the end of the day, we ride for the same team. So, like we try and communicate and help each other out the best we can to, help each of us. Because, I mean, KTM wants me or him winning, basically, is what it comes down to. They want us 1-2,
Yep.
And if I come in second, they're going to ask me why I didn't get in first. And if he gets second, they're going to ask him why he didn't get first. So, I mean, of course, I'm sure there's awkwardness here and there. I mean, nobody wants to get beat. Like, I don't want to get beat. I'm sure he doesn't want to get beat. And, I have to leave. I have to leave the decisions of moving me up to the full factory, up to KTM. All I can do is go out and win races, and at the end of the day, like they have their reasonings and they have their ways of what they want. So I just have to be appreciative for what I have, and I couldn't be more thankful for the stuff KTM does give me. I have a great factory support ride, and with the help of Bonanza Plumbing, he stepped up this year and. Yeah, my program's great, and I couldn't be more happy. Of course, there's always that one step, but I don't really think there's too much awkwardness between me and Ivan. I mean, I play around. We joke all the time. I joke about burritos and and his broken up English all the time, and he gives me crap all the time too. So I mean, that's just we like to have fun, and riding. The more we race together and stuff, the more we get to know each other, and we do have a good time with it. But when it comes time to race, of course, like. I want to beat him just as bad as he wants to beat me. So.
Right. So what you're telling me is that KTM wants you to win races and not fuck up your spleen. Like that's
basically you're right.
If you take the legal jargon and just sink it into two sentences.
2 sentences. Don't fuck up and win. That's all it is.
I like it, and that'd be a way easier contract to sign.
Yeah, just 2 sentences. Don't fuck up and win, and then boom, there you go.
I like it. We should totally be lawyers.
Yeah, dude, that clause is just covers.
It's just black or white. It's black or white. There's no gray area.
I like it. We're pretty good at this, I think.
Who asked me that question too? The Ivan question.
So it was in the chat room, Mutiny 5050. I've seen the name in the chat room before, but
no, I know that guy. I see him on Instagram all the time. Tell him, thanks, man.
Well, hopefully he's watching. What's up with your thumb? Was that a blister?
Oh, check out these hands. They're doing real good.
Dude, you got to ride more or at least play with yourself.
How much time on the bike did you have before this last race this last weekend?
Yeah. You did works, right? Like 2 weeks, not this past weekend, but the week before that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I started riding. I did some trail riding like once or twice, and then I did some pictures for Dirt Rider on a project bike, and then I actually only had about 2 weeks of like hard riding, like good hard riding before Havasu. And of course, I came in and got 5th, and that was not where I want to be. And so, that was kind of a tough pill to swallow because, as you ride and you train, and I was doing all my practice motos and stuff, like I felt like I was somewhere where I needed to be, but I just kind of fell a little bit short. I had a couple little issues, and my game plan didn't work. So that's why I'm just keep working hard. And it's actually tough. I'm supposed to race I race every weekend this month and next month.
Woo. Very nice.
Yeah. So I might not. I got to see about this weekend. My hands are pretty tore up, and I really need to give my body and my hands a little bit of a rest.
I have to ask.
Yeah.
Could you possibly be the rider that brings the kidney belt back because it helps your spleen?
I've had a lot of people go, "Hey man, just put a kidney belt on." The problem is your spleen is actually tucked up underneath your rib cage.
Oh, so it's like high.
Yeah, so it's a lot higher than you think. So
a garter, right? Like what do they call? What are those? Is that
a girder?
A girder.
Like a girder?
Is that like that?
You know what they are. You're probably wearing one right now.
Not right now. It would be very uncomfortable in this situation. I'm playing dumb, but still, stop it. This is text message conversation territory. That's Thursday night show. But yeah, we could totally get like a suit. Yeah, we could totally get you a seat time like bitchin' like girder, kidney belt thing.
I'm so glad that's all right.
I think the last guy that I saw wearing a kidney belt was Justin Soule in endurocross, like 2000, I'll say 12 or 13.
Yeah, and we're all gonna die in 10 years because of that. Like, there's like, I mean, they really do have like a purpose, and we all just said, "Oh, that's not cool looking. F it." Like, we're done.
Yeah.
Like
Back
my dad would wear them so low you could just see like the top like inch of it. I'm like, what are you? That's not even
like
doing
now you're
anything.
like, now it's just a belt,
It's
buddy.
just like it's just straight belt.
The belt. I like it.
It's no good for anybody. Okay, so Works Lake Havasu. Tell us a little about that event. Was there decent bikiniage?
Yeah, have you seen Instagram? Like some of the guys from Instagram, there's a guy riding on the side of the lake, and there's this chick's really nice ass, I guess you could say. I'll just be blunt with it. And he's like staring right at her as he's going around the corner, and it's like it's hilarious. It's like distractions. And then if you actually if you look at the Cycle News picture, I got a 2-page spread in Cycle News, and if you look, I mean, don't look at me, look behind me. There's some good talent there. I mean, yeah,
Talent. Good talent.
Some good Arizonian spring breakage.
I was at that point though. I was dying, so I was just trying to hold on to the bike. I wasn't busy looking around. I was just like, please throw the white flag.
Even if they'd have been like just naked out there, like wee, you'd have just still been like, nope, I'm gonna fall over if I get off the bike, so it doesn't really matter.
I might have stopped then. You never know.
So you're at this point, and I've been where you're at now. You're just struggling hard to get your cardio back, right?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is it's like it's hard because if I'm racing like every weekend like I am right now, it's hard to really build a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
because after like right now, like today I worked out and I've been doing some recovery stuff, but it's still like I'm flat. Like I'm really like my riding, like I'm going to ride tomorrow, but it's super flat because my body isn't recovered from the weekend. Plus I had Havasu last weekend. And then as that starts just trickling, when you're racing 2-3 hours a weekend and depleting your body, it takes a few days to get that back. So for me to like build on my cardio right now, I'd really like to take like, let my hands heal up, my body heal up. I'd love to take a weekend off, to be honest with you, and get kind of regrouped and back where I think I should be, so I could hopefully come out swinging in Sand Hollow and win that Works race would be nice.
All right. What do you have coming up this weekend that you've kind of like? Yeah, tell us a little bit about what your schedule kind of looks like, so we can kind of know what to pay attention to and see, where your tongue's hanging out from.
Well, this weekend there's a West Coast Hare Scramble in Redding, California.
Oh, that's a cool territory, isn't it?
Shasta's beautiful. The area is really good, and I heard they've got lots of rain, so it could be a really, really good event. The last time I was there, it was really dusty, and of course, it's never fun to ride in the trees in the dust, but
right.
Yeah. And then Works Sand Hollow the following weekend. Another West Coast Hare Scramble in Lucerne. Big 6 race, and then Works, Hare and Hound, West Coast Hare Scramble, then a Works race. Yeah.
Were you looking at a calendar just then, or did you have that? Okay.
I got a calendar with them, all of it spread out, so I can keep track of everything I got going on.
Very nice, very nice.
That's the way to do it.
I have a female planner. Yeah, it's sitting over there. She keeps up with all that.
Yeah, she's already like, it is 9 o'clock, motherfucker. We need to get ready to go
you
home.
got bedtime.
I need one of those female planners, but I haven't seemed to been able to find anyone that's worth it, I guess.
We could be honest. That's true. They're far and few between.
No, so I just just me and M taking on the world. That's what we do.
As you should.
I'm being dad and mom. It works.
I would love to see you in mom mode.
Oh, I became quite the cook, man. You'd be impressed.
I would. I think
nice,
you're right.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's funny. I did so when Tam had Liam. Like I had like 2 weeks off or whatever. So I was cooking and doing all that kinds of stuff. By the end of that time, and I'm from Louisiana, so like I like cooking. Like I've got like a jambalaya. Like I like doing jambalaya and red beans and rice and stuff. But I hadn't done that in a long time. And so, like, by the end of those 2 weeks, like, I had totally, like, I spent, like, 2 days making, like, proper red beans and rice. Like, I think I was, like, making, like, from ground up cheesecakes. Like, all this kinds of crazy-ass shit. And then I went back to work, and, like, by now, like, I don't know how to I can't remember how to do any of that shit anymore.
Forgot all of it.
I mean, granted, that was still 3.5 years ago when Layne was born. But I know what you mean. Like, sometimes cooking can be fun.
There's been a lot of beer drinking that time. That's why you lost all that memory, right?
Yes.
Okay, we'll blame it on that.
Okay, I'm in. And also, I think in that time period too was Big Sky, and I'm not gonna lie.
Oh.
Big Sky 2013 with Big Sue. That was a very, very, very bad time for that city.
Yeah.
That city was
Running a little too hard.
It got interesting. So, talk to us about the Hare and Hound. Murphy, Idaho, round 2. You got the win, but kind of tell us a little bit about the territory up there. From what I understand, like that's like a little bit of everything up there, right? Like a little bit of desert, a little bit of rockiness, some mountains, some elevation, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you know, Idaho's really good. I mean, I'd really love the place if it was wet. The start this year was really sketchy. What are you? You're drinking water.
Well, both my beers are empty. Can you grab me another beer?
I got you, brother.
Yeah. So, no, you said it'd be really better if it was wet, and I just looked at him and said, "That's what she said."
Well, you could have said that out loud because I was figuring that.
You were in the flow, man. I'm not always as rude as it seems.
No, I can get back in the flow. It's all good.
Okay.
No, so
okay. Now we're wet again. Get back in the flow.
It's always better wet, man. It is.
I know. Kiefer told me that all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. He's not here to like bust in on the conversation and bring something really inappropriate into it. You know,
like why don't you have pants on, Kiefer? This is such an awkward situation.
Yeah, that would be Kiefer. We know that. Yeah. But no, Idaho was good. You know that area they're very strict with BLM. So as far as the course and everything, you have to stay on the course. You know, you can vary a little bit because it's all a lot of cow trails, and then they have some washes that have some really cool like rock sections, and then sand washes that are just like fast. I mean, it really has a variety of everything. And I guess you could say the biggest variety was, you know, I got off to I didn't realize I had such a good start. I got like a 6th place start, and I started passing people, and I got into clear air and just started pinning it really hard because I was like, I thought I was in like 5th or 6th, and I couldn't see dust. So I'm like, I got to catch up. And I pulled into our alternate, and I asked how far, and they're like, the next guy's 2 minutes. And I'm like, all right, well, what place am I in? They're like, 2nd. And I'm like, what? I thought I was in like 5th or 6th. And I was like, okay. So I just put my head down, and we came into the pit, the actual pit. And I think Jake was like, Algebright was like about 1:20 in front of me or something like that. So I could see him at the end of the pit when I came in. So I was like, all right, like I just need to keep my head down and keep pushing. And but the thing is we all kind of just, me, him, and Ricky, all kind of just like, we all had clean air, and we just all kind of rode the same speed.
Yep.
I mean, nobody was really we gain on each other and then lose it. And then the Dirt Inc. Club threw in total out of the left field. Didn't even see it coming. I could see the pits, and we start coming up to this creek, and we crossed the creek once before, and it was fairly deep. And I came up to the first water crossing, crossed it, and I'm like, oh wow, it was pretty deep. You know, it was like mid dirt bike. You know.
Yeah.
Second one was like I hit it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like the bike went like way under, like the pipe went under. It was like blah blah blah. I was like, oh shit, like just started covering me, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So the bike starts cutting out a little, so I got it like wide open, just holding the clutch in, just trying to keep it running. And we come into the next one, and I'm not kidding, I hit it, and literally water's like coming over the bars. I got the bike just wide open, turn the corner, and I'm like, I'm freaking out. I'm like, the bike's barely running. I'm just like, are you kidding?
Oh no, you can't always take.
Man, that was like middle, pretty sweet story.
And it's like right in the middle of.
Oh, you see the bra pan's still up. Ah. Is that us or him?
You got to check everything.
He's calling us back.
But that's what I love, though. Gary Sutherland is quite the badass.
Yeah,
So
no,
he's
I
just
like his village stories. Those are really good. Those
I
are
know.
really.
You're like, oh,
he's
I want
into
to be
it,
there.
man.
I
Yeah.
want to be there. So, did you get stuck in any water in Texas ever?
Yeah, but like I thought they were racing in the desert. I'm confused.
Yeah, I know. It's what's neat about that area. That's
So that is a little
that
bit of
Murphy,
everything.
Idaho area. Yeah, apparently, like You know, if you can get in the mountains, you're kind of like in, that mountainous kind of single track region, everything that's going on there. But, when you're at the foothills, it's a little bit more of a deserty kind of, like legitimate kind of desert type region, which is, changes it up a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably amazing up there.
So, yeah, that's what's neat is like you can go do, 100 miles in a day and get a plethora of different types of terrain and all that stuff.
Plethora.
So, I don't know. What was it we were going to? Go back to the notes. Well, we try to get Gary and talk about everything that's coming up for him. Some of the things is that coming up. So this weekend,
National
we're both going to
Enduro.
be at the Cajun Classic, the National Enduro.
Very, very excited.
That's going to be fun. You're probably on like row 78. Which is an hour
maybe.
and 10 minutes behind me on row 18.
It's that or 46. Waiting for Alan to help me out with that. Shouldn't have waited till the last minute. But
you shouldn't have. Yeah.
I mean, there was an opening, so please give it to me.
And they were like, okay. And you're like, no, it's not going to happen. But Dad and I are going to be there. We're going to do a little bit of filming, and we'll be doing some racing on Sunday. So if you're going to be at the National Enduro, make sure you come find us. It'll be a good time. We will hang out. Do we have Gary back?
Can you see me?
Nope.
We can hear you.
I can hear you. You're so sexy.
Oh, there he is.
Can you see me now?
You were in the middle of your third lake crossing.
It was literally a lake. Like they straight up. I mean, I literally went off the bike, kind of caught it. Jake was standing there and like grabbed me so I wouldn't fall in the water. Like it was nuts. I mean, I think the last I heard, 40 people I think DNF'd 4 miles from the finish. That's how deep the water was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was. People were just drowning their bikes out. It was crazy.
Is that what happened to Jacob?
Yeah, he drowned his bike out, but I think it drowned it out, but I think it might have popped a fuse because he ended up getting it fixed. I think he just put a fuse because we carry spare fuses under the seat in like all KTMs have them. Mm-hmm. And I think he just put, or Husqvarna, I guess he rides Husky too. So then I think, because he still finished, I think, 12th or something like that. So he still got like 1 point.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's a bummer for him. I mean, he definitely, what's the word? I think he definitely had me covered. I mean, for sure. I was just in the right place at the right time. So,
yeah,
that's part of racing.
Hey, water crossing skills are nothing to be taken lightly. Skill involved.
Yep. Just over Steven's head is where it says, "You swim like a 23A champion super pro." That is from a lot of people watching me drown my back out in a creek crossing.
Oh, nice.
Yep, buddy.
Nice.
Yeah, buddy.
No, it's part of it.
So what's the technique? I want to know your guys' technique.
Well, hydroplane, everybody knows that.
Yeah, come on.
Didn't you ever watch Crusty Demons of Dirt?
Go faster and don't be a pussy.
I guess we should call Jake up and tell him that.
Ooh.
That's kind of mean.
Them there fighting words.
No, I have no technique. My technique is try not to fall and try not to drop the bike.
That was my exact technique there too, and it paid off, I guess.
So that's the way So what's coming up then? You said you've got the West Coast Hare Scrambles and then all kinds of other stuff after that.
Yeah, basically just racing every weekend. Trying to get back in the swing of things. Putting a lot of emphasis on the Hare and Hound series because that's really the series that I can still win the championship in.
Yeah, man, you're already back in third with that win of 30 points.
It's crazy. I'm tied with Ivan. I looked at the points and because the guys that did good the first round DNF'd or did bad the second round, and the guys that did bad the first round did good the second round. So it just kind of worked out. So, but still, What's that?
But yeah, Brabeck then wound up kind of like. He was first and then second, so he's kind of starting to pull away.
Yeah, he's got 25 points, but the thing is each win is 30 points, second's 25, so that's 5 points, so I just need to go win the next 5, and I'll be right there with him.
There it is.
So,
math is a wonderful thing.
Hare and Hounds are, they're a tough thing, and, Ricky's riding great. He had a bad start and came through the pack, so he's going to be a front runner, and Jake, of course, had us covered. So, I mean, he's going to be strong and probably looking for, redemption at the next round. So, the series is good. I mean, we got a lot of good competition, and I look forward to going really fast across the desert and scaring myself.
Right. Yay.
No, thank you. I'll take my trees.
Yeah, I know. I enjoy my trees as well.
Oh, speaking of,
Hey, I'm with you on some things. Like I like the trees, but I really don't like that super slick, snotty, tree rooty, mud hole. Like I raced snowshoe GNCC and it was miserable.
oh,
last year.
see, you would love Texas. Okay, we got dry, slick dust
Okay.
with trees.
Blue Groove.
There's like no roots and like not very many rocks. It's great. Actually, you used to rail with Bobby Garrison, right?
Yeah, Bobby G's out there.
Yeah, he moved out here. He had to take a little time off. He went to the fire academy. And
Okay, I was wondering why
had
you were doing that.
so he had a
You brought it up.
probationary period. So homeboy
Yeah.
didn't even get the ride for like a whole year. But now he's back riding a little bit. You know, whenever he can, whenever
Was
the
he
fire
at
department.
the TCCRA or anything?
Yeah, I think no, he hasn't done TCC.
I'm on Seat Time right now. Guess who it is, guys?
Is that Kiefer?
Say hi. Say hi to Chris Kiefer, guys.
Hi, Chris Kiefer.
Hello.
What's up? Sorry, I didn't know you were on. My bad.
Hey, way to be a friend, dude.
Well, he only answered because it's you.
Yeah, look at social media once in a while, you dick.
Fuck. I got band questions. I wanted to call you. I need band questions answered.
Man questions, that's right. See, my little buddy over here calls me for man questions.
He doesn't. Whatever, dude. He's got that.
Band questions.
Oh, he said van questions,
Oh.
which AKA means man
Yeah,
questions.
I was about to say he's got that after hours with Kiefer. He doesn't have questions. We love you, Kiefer. All right. Well, it's 9:30. We got to get him home, and you got to stop feeding candy to your kid.
That's right. What do you say?
Bye.
Say
Show 'em
thank
what's in
you
your
for
mouth.
all the candy.
Look at all that candy. Oh!
Oh, look at it on the computer.
Candy on the keyboard.
Love
Candy on the
it.
keyboard.
Say bye-bye, guys.
By the way, Em, you're welcome.
Say thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Gary, way to be badassery in the world.
Thanks for having us on, guys.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
No worries. You guys keep having fun out there and keep being cool, and we will chat soon.
All right, have a beer for me.
Done.
All right, later, guys.
Bye.
Wow.
Ah, yes. Well, what's next?
I don't know.
What's next for you?
Well, yeah, like we're just talking about the National Enduro a little bit.
Yeah.
Heard it's some really, really good terrain out there.
Yeah, have you ever ridden out there?
No, I've actually never raced in Louisiana, so this will be my first time.
So
But
this is-
I know it's good out there.
This is one of the two places that, like, my dad and I used to cut our bars down for.
It's that tight.
But because it's the National Enduro and the NEPGs are not National Enduros of 10, 15, 20 years ago, they will not put you through that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
like where it's like cut your bars kind of tight. But
It'll still be
it
tight.
will be some of the tighter pine tree kind of sections, I would say,
Very nice.
close to on the circuit. Now, I know the Northeast as well likes to do some tight single track. And I think that they probably still have the balls to do it. But from what I understand, the Cajun Classic guys for the National Enduros don't go as tight as they used to. So, we'll get good, fun, tight
Oh, yeah.
stuff, but it may not be as nasty and as gnarly as kind of like some of us like. Just because I like that because it's a little bit, there's a lot of technique in it. It's less about throttle control, or I guess lack of throttle control, and just
Right.
holding it open, and a little bit more about full bike control. But that's okay. Everybody has their own thing and all that kinds of stuff. But Dad and I are going to be there. It's going to be fun. We're going to get there sometime Saturday afternoon. It's probably going to be.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get out there about noon on Saturday and set up, do the whole tech inspector, and it's also like this will be my third National Enduro and my fifth Enduro ever.
Yeah.
So I gotta get out there and relearn everything. Get the roll sheet. And
Well, yeah.
or wait, what do you call it? What do you call
route
it?
chart.
Route. Yep, that's it.
Well, it'll be interesting too. I don't know what the setup's gonna be like, so it'll be fun to figure all that out because they don't do the 3 mile thing anymore. Like you can start in the beginning now, like with the first test being. That's been for a couple years now too. So I mean, it's really just kind of saying, okay, well, we've got our 6 tests. They're at these miles, and they're going to be this long, and this is your gas stop. Okay. I'm organized and ready to go race. You don't have to worry about the timekeeping aspect of it anymore and everything. So
Yeah, the first one I ever did was chasing Brian's story with the timekeeping, and that was just a wacky deal. Like, he's like, if you see me like going as slow as I can, standing up without touching the ground, just do that and just follow me. I'm like, okay, you know, like come up and like you're about to blow it. What about to blow a check? And you're like, okay, now we're gonna ride really slow, you know, or whatever crazy strategy in the timekeeping enduros. But yeah, the reset format is really cool, and it, you know, I think it. I don't know. You're an old enduro rider. I mean, you think it helps?
I personally, I mean, I enjoy it more. I like that aspect of racing, and that's why I enjoy rally. We've talked about it quite a few times. That I think if anybody out there is like, gosh darn it, we need more timekeepers. Go race rally. You will have so much more mental shit to think about than just timekeeping that you will be mind fucked. Like, it is so, because navigating off of a route book, you know, instead of just having to.
I try to get Haley to do that with my Google directions, you know, but.
you navigate and she drives?
Yeah, I'm like,
that sounds super safe.
What do they say? Like 15-degree right, 100 yards or whatever. Like, I don't, you know, like.
No, you got to make up your own lingo.
Yeah.
On, you guys are dating. You guys can figure this out. It's just a whole nother level of relationship language.
Back roading it to the local off-road races.
That could get weird.
Yeah, no, man, it's fun.
Okay, yeah.
That's what the Jeep's made for.
Oh, you didn't say backdooring it. Okay.
Oh, dude, too far. Too far. Okay, so what's next on the?
Well, what's cool is though the World Enduro Championship is going to start this weekend too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we'll get to see Taylor Robert.
Where's it going off at?
I think it's Spain, is what they were saying.
Spain?
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to look it up.
Very cool.
But if I can make a guess, I'm going to guess Spain. I think that's where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
For some strange reason.
Oh, and on race results, you missed out on last weekend was TCCRA out in Avenger, out in East Texas. Wonderful property, rolling hills, pine trees. Really, really cool event. I totally sucked it up.
Fourth, right?
Yeah,
Fourth totally sounds shitty.
Oh, man. Fast dudes in front of me. Cameron Ishmael with the win. Drew Higgins was all over him, going really fast. I got to ride with him in the first part of the race. He doesn't look. He's like one of those dudes that doesn't look like he's going fast until you realize that he's, you know, pulling away from him. Very good,
smooth, right?
Very good corner speed. Like he's starting to just wick it up and like out in the open. You know, he's starting to, but his corner speed is just tremendous. And then Dylan Green got the whole shot, and this is a total 4-stroke track. And those dudes were just killing it. Just super choppy, you know. A lot really fast, you know, hanging out in fourth gear a lot.
Drew Higgins on a 4-stroke?
No. I'm sorry, Dylan Green.
Okay.
Dylan Green. No. Drew was making his 250 work on a 4-stroke track for sure.
Wow.
So, and then I just kind of wasn't making mine work. Just
Are you
my
still
hands
on your
couldn't.
like weird like 250?
No, I'm on a regular 250 SX. We're not doing the W conversion anymore. The WSX, 250 SXW. I think that's what I called it. So no, we're on a regular SX now. Now it just sits so good in the ruts and really track straight when you know going gets rough. But you know I do miss, you know, with the PDS system wheeling and just soaking up logs, you know, at high speed, and then also just the dry slick drifting you can do with a PDS that you really can't with the linkage system. So I do miss that. You know, it's a give. Might go back to the PDS system someday, but for right now, making the linkage work and
interesting.
Yeah,
it's always weird to hear you talk about that bike, but I'm
yeah,
like, hey,
it
man,
was.
It's like a fun way to make what you know you like.
But yeah,
work.
put your new forks in the head, and yeah, just totally rebuilding it. But no, we're just making the regular SX work right now, and it's working great. It really is. But so
very cool. I like it. Well, where can people learn more about the Caleb Ramsay on the internets?
You can follow me at the22 on Instagram and just Caleb Ramsay on Facebook. I'm not cool enough.
Ramsay AA.
Not cool enough for like the Twitter and all that stuff.
That's a lot to keep up with.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting a Twitter, and I was just like, I don't know, man. Just
do it. Just put random thoughts out there. It's fun.
Like Instagram and Facebook are so good for the dirt bike world. Like everybody at my work just like complains about it. I'm like, man, Facebook's lame. It's like, well, who are you friends with? If you're not friends with a bunch of pro dirt bike riders, it probably is lame.
Yeah, you need good pictures.
Probably friend pro dirt bike riders, and then you just nothing but good stuff on your
Like
feed
Caleb
all day.
Ramsay.
It's nothing but good stuff. I'll never get tired of it as long as I'm keeping racers on there.
A lot of vintage and brappage.
That's right.
That's all there is.
Absolutely right. But yeah, you need to delete all your high school friends and just add dirt bike riders.
I like it. And in all of that, you can add seat time because we are on Facebook.
That's right. Yeah, I get some good stuff coming over
It's very
there.
easy to find us. Facebook.com/seat time. It is like super simple. On Twitter, it's at @seattime_co. On Instagram, we made it even easier. @seattime. Look at that. On YouTube, it's Seat Time CO is the username, but you can just search for Seat Time and find us. Do look for the tips for the trails video that we've been putting out. We're going to be shooting another one this coming weekend at the National Enduro, so we'll have that out probably about a couple weeks after the fact. So those have been fun. Those have been interesting. And definitely give us your thoughts and opinions. Like if you kind of want to see us, hit on something that is something you have questions on or just something you'd like to see a little bit better explanation of, let us know. We can do tips for the trails for you. Be fun.
Oh yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
Like that. Of course, this has been Seat Time, episode 202. Mr. Caleb Ramsay, thank you very much for coming. I'm Brian Pierce. You can find me on the internet pretty much anywhere at Woody B. Pierced on Twitters and Instagrams. And we'll be back next week. We'll be chatting about more dirt bike stuff, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have some very interesting stories about me finally riding my dirt bike again.
Yay. It's been too long. It's been too long.
It will be weird. Definitely tune in. Thank you very much, and we will see you next week.
Bye, Felicia.
Peace.